subscribe to my channel.
Lily was a bright and kind-hearted 15-year-old girl. She was always willing to help others, but one tragic day changed her life forever. It was a normal chemistry class, almost over. Students were busy cleaning up when a strange, sharp smell filled the air. Suddenly, a flame erupted in the corner. The fire spread rapidly, thick smoke choking the room. Panic broke out as everyone ran for the door, but Lily noticed her classmate Katherine trapped behind a table, surrounded by flames. Without a second thought, Lily ran straight into the fire. She grabbed Katherine and pulled her to safety, but the flames showed no mercy. The scorching heat burned Lily's skin. The acrid smell of burning hair filled her nose as the world went dark. When she woke up, Lily was in a hospital bed. Her face and hands were tightly wrapped in thick bandages. The doctor explained softly that she had suffered severe burns and would need multiple surgeries to repair her skin. Over the next few months, Lily endured 4 painful operations. Each surgery was followed by weeks of recovery. The treatments were worse: cold machines, sharp tools, and the sting of every procedure. The physical pain was unbearable, but the silence was worse. None of her classmates visited her, not even Katherine. Only one teacher stopped by briefly, and no one ever mentioned that Lily had saved Katherine's life. When the bandages were removed, Lily stared at her reflection in disbelief. Her once smooth, clear skin was now twisted and rough, scars crawling across her face like cracked branches. Her smile, once her greatest joy, had vanished. At school it got worse. Katherine spread cruel lies claiming Lily had caused the fire and painted herself as the hero who saved others. The rumors spread like wildfire. Students mocked Lily, whispering behind her back, laughing at her scarred face. Lily walked through the halls with her head down, her once bright world now filled with shadows. The only thing that kept her going was silently watching Aaron, the class president. He was kind and admired by everyone, and in her heart Lily couldn't help but admire him too. One evening, Lily walked home alone. The empty suburban streets were cloaked in mist, the glow of the streetlights dim and eerie. Suddenly, a figure stepped out of a dark alley. It was a woman in a black cloak, her face hidden by shadows. In her hands, she held an ornate blue flower pot.
"This pot can give you beauty,"
the woman said softly. Her voice sent chills down Lily's spine.
"but it only responds to a pure heart. Do not let it fall into wicked hands, or it will bring disaster."
Before Lily could speak, the woman vanished into the darkness. Confused but curious, Lily carried the pot home. That night, she poured clean water into the pot, just as the woman had instructed. Immediately, the water began to glow a soft, soothing blue. Ribbons of light wrapped around Lily, warm and gentle, lifting her off the ground. Her body felt weightless, as though she were melting into the air. When she opened her eyes, everything was different. She ran to the mirror and gasped. Her scars were gone, her skin was smooth and flawless. Her brown hair was shiny and perfect. She touched her face in disbelief. It was as if she had been reborn. The next day, Lily returned to school. The students couldn't believe their eyes. The girl they had mocked was now stunningly beautiful. Admiration and whispers followed her everywhere, but Katherine was furious. Jealousy burned inside her like a fire. She was determined to find out Lily's secret. Pretending to be kind, Katherine approached Lily. She apologized for the past, saying it had all been a misunderstanding. Lily, being naive and lonely, forgave her. One afternoon, Katherine visited Lily's house. When she saw the blue flower pot, her eyes gleamed with greed. She begged to borrow it. "Just for one night," she promised. "I'll take care of it and return it tomorrow." Lily hesitated, but, believing Katherine, handed over the pot. That night in her room, Katherine eagerly poured water into the flower pot. She waited for the magic, but something was wrong. The pot glowed a deep blood-red color. Whispers filled the air, dark, chilling voices murmuring words she couldn't understand. The temperature dropped, and the room filled with a suffocating dread. Katherine tried to step back, but her feet felt heavy. She looked down and screamed. Her skin was turning rough and hard, bark spreading like a disease. Her arms stretched and twisted into gnarled branches. Her face froze mid-scream as it hardened into bark, her mouth open but silent. Her wide eyes remained open, filled with terror, as her roots broke through the wooden floor, anchoring her to the ground. The room fell into eerie silence, broken only by the creaking of her twisted branches. News of Katherine's fate reached Aaron. When he saw her still conscious but unable to move, he realized he could sell her to the black market for a fortune. One evening, Lily noticed Aaron talking to strange men on a street corner. He looked nervous, clutching something tightly in his hand. That night, Lily couldn't sleep. Something felt terribly wrong. The next day, she quietly followed Aaron after school. He led her to an abandoned warehouse. Lily hid in the shadows and peeked inside. Under a dim light, Aaron stood with the men negotiating. Katherine's grotesque tree-like form lay in the center, bound with thick ropes. Her branches drooped, dark sap dripping from her limbs. "This is a real miracle," Aaron said. "Labs will pay a fortune for her." Lily's hands trembled as she pulled out her phone and whispered into it, "Please, send the police. There's something terrible happening." Minutes later, sirens pierced the night air. Police stormed the warehouse, flashlights cutting through the darkness. Aaron tried to run, but the officers pinned him to the ground. His face turned pale with fear. Katherine was taken to a secret lab, where scientists hoped to understand the curse. Her lifeless eyes remained wide open, frozen in eternal terror. Lily stood outside the warehouse, watching as Aaron was dragged away. The nightmare was finally over, but at such a terrible cost. Lily knew the flower pot was too dangerous to exist. At dawn, she walked deep into the forest. In the soft morning mist, she dug a hole beneath an old tree. Carefully, she placed the flower pot inside and covered it with earth. "Let this curse end here," she whispered. Sunlight pierced through the mist, warming her face. Lily stood up, feeling an unfamiliar sense of peace. For the first time in a long time, she smiled and walked toward her future, stronger than before.